And we're back with another episode of the Fantasy Football Mafia. My name is JoJo. We got the comeback kid, Yosef, and just the letter B. How you doing,
Hi.
buddy?
What does it stand for?
Buddy,
Uh,
Breezy,
Brian.
Stands for
huh?
my name.
Oh,
I mean, it's always something new
didn't
with
think of
Brian. You just never know. You come to the show just to see what he puts under his name tag, I guess. We got QB rankings. We're going to start rolling out our positional rankings. We have our consensus ranks. We're also going to touch on a little bit of what we personally ranked them towards the end of this episode. But let's get right into it. Not waste any time because Brian's time is precious. He's got to get his beauty sleep. We're gonna get right into it, boys. Who wants to start us out? Just go right off the list because we number one we're consensusly all agreed upon. So who wants to start us off?
Yeah, our consensus pick was Josh Allen. So we all had Josh Allen as number one. For me specifically, it's no brainer. It's whether for dynasty or redraft, you're drafting Josh Allen number one. He has an amazing arm. I mean, many yards, lots of touchdowns. His receiving core is good, and he runs the ball. Well, I mean, what more can you ask for? He's the reigning MVP. I would get him like second or no, not second round. I'll go third round, probably the earliest. Um, but he's worth he's number one, and I think you guys agree.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, what do you have anything to add, or you want to go to number two?
He's pretty much the whole offense. I wouldn't draft him third round. I wouldn't consider him until like probably the fifth or sixth.
You won't get him though by then.
Yeah,
At least in the drafts that I've been doing for best ball, I know that best ball is a little. I mean, it's not too different. I think it's actually a great way to do for prepare for season long. But at least in the drafts I've been doing a number of them because you guys have been saying, Joey, do you do anything else with your time? But yeah, he's going in the round three at least at earliest. But go ahead, continue what you were saying though. Sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that high on a quarterback personally, but yeah, he's a whole offense. I wouldn't be surprised if he leads the team in rushing too.
Absolutely.
And he throws it 30 times a game at least. Plus with the running ability, and then he's a red zone. He's gonna run it in the red zone most of the time. He's the top guy.
He got into a fight with like a defensive lineman a couple days ago, which I like to see. That's how I see my quarterback, like fighting linemen. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, making
I don't want a quarterback like Carr who just praises everyone. Just like, oh, he's
Hey! Not anymore. Do you see what he been barking at? He been barking at the reporters lately. He's not that just passive Carr anymore, man.
Those reporters are real tough.
Yeah, he barks at reporters. I remember one time he said he wanted to fight Max Kellerman. That he won't do that to a player, but he'll do that to a reporter.
All right. Hey, man. All right. So I'll just do a quick knock on Josh Allen because I mean everyone's has like a little weakness here, but there's no reason why you're not ranking him number one. But you know his offensive coordinator is now in New York, so the super aggressive play calling Brian Dable is not there. Ken Dorsey, if you guys remember the U Miami, he is now the offensive coordinator in Buffalo. So it remains to be seen of kind of like how the offense might shift a little bit. But that's really the only knock that I have. Okay. Number two, Brian, go ahead. Consensus.
Justin Herbert, great city, great hair, to be a model. I mean, a guy can do it all. Yeah.
I feel like he's like the Patrick Mahomes of years past. He can do it all with his arm. He can throw any kind of pass. He has some good receivers. Great offense, good running back. It's like he's surrounded by talent. He's very talented. So as far as pure passers in this fantasy draft, he's the number one pure passer. He just doesn't add much in the running game, which is why he slides to number two.
I mean, hands down, I'd say that, or not hands down, I guess I'd just say arguably the Chargers have the most talent than any other roster in the NFL. Like both sides of the ball. Like even their offensive line got upgraded, in a massive way. Picking up, I think it was Zion Johnson. All right, the guard there. Corey Lindsey's already a great player. Rashawn Slater, they drafted last year. I believe their right guard is still pretty soft. I'm blanking on the name right now, but they really have one glaring weakness even on the offensive line. Like their offensive line is still stacked, right? Yeah. So again, no real gripes on that. I personally had Holmes number two, Herbert three, but consensus wise, we're right there. I'll just keep going. Number three that we had as a consensus was Patrick Mahomes. A couple of you, I think actually Brian had him a little lower than me and Yosef. Yes, that's correct. So Brian, I guess just what brought you down to him at 5, whereas where me and Joseph had him in our top 5?
I
I
mean, he
guess we
lost
had him in the
Tyreek
top 5
Hill.
too.
He
But
lost
yeah,
Tyreek Hill.
okay.
Like, it's simple. It's like in Dolphins practice, like even versus the joint practice versus the Bucks, they did like a little slant to Tyreek, takes it to the house, 40-yard bombs, 50-yard bombs. Like Tua is like doing that with Hill now. Mahomes is gonna miss that. I mean, I don't know. Marquez, Balding, or like Juju, like those are huge downgrades in my opinion. Like maybe for TikTok is a huge upgrade, but yeah, I don't think he's gonna be the same type player as before.
And Joseph, anything to add or just rebut,
I
if you
mean,
will?
yeah, I agree with that. Like he's not gonna be the same. But even from last year, he he had a pretty like half of the season was good, but then he kind of like fell off fantasy wise. He wasn't providing much. Like people were upset with drafting him, and that was with Hill. But so I already saw the slide kind of coming, where people are trying to the other teams are figuring it out, sort of. So I still think he's one of the great quarterbacks in the league. He'll figure it out and get the ball to Juju and these other guys. We've seen him actually do it before without Hill. Have a pretty good fantasy game. So for me, he was ranked number 4. So I'm kind of just like in the middle with him between you guys. But I know you have him 3, Joey. So
Yeah. So me, I guess I'm betting on his individual talent to just kind of elevate his teammates. And also their offensive line is also very, very good. I think it's a top 5 unit in the NFL. So with improved, because remember in 2019 in that Super Bowl, he was running for his life, right? I think ever since that game, they've made an effort in the last couple of years to improve that offensive line, and they've done it. So, and Andy Reid, that's the other reason why I still rank him high, because he is one of the most creative play callers in the NFL too. So mixed with his elevating talent as with his arm, with the players around him, he still has Travis Kelce. Juju has been playing really well in camp thus far, stretching the D with Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and then obviously either Sky Moore or Mecole Hardman taking the Tyreek role. Tyreek role. We'll see how that turns out, but I still like the odds there for him being a top quarterback. Joseph, go ahead.
All right, so for our number 4 consensus, it's actually Jalen Hurts. Now we were kind of all over in our rankings with Jalen Hurts as well. I have him all the way at number 6. I think Brian had him at number 3, so that's the farthest apart we are. Just for the reason I had him at number 6, I still think he's great for fantasy and all that when he's playing. I just feel like he has those games where he just totally falls off and doesn't provide anything for you. Those like 0 to 5 point games, which is kind of rare, but it happened a lot during the end of the season where you really needed him most. And so just for that reason, I kind of slide him a little bit back. And I feel like he could still get benched later on in the year if he doesn't perform well. So that's the only reason why I slid him back behind guys like Kyler and Lamar Jackson.
Brian, I'm going to let you take, because I think we're going to align a lot of things that you're going to bring up. So I'll just kind of add anything that you might forget, but go ahead.
I'm actually quite shocked Joseph had him the lowest since he's like the most biased with his ex players. I would have thought you would have had
like him. I like him.
Yeah, you trade raped me last year for him, but whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he definitely has a high floor because of his running ability. You add AJ Brown to the offense, I think it's only going to help him. So yeah, I think for sure he's going to be like at least like a top 5 quarterback based on the additions they added. And then look at the division that they're in. So not a lot of very tough defenses. So I think he'll do really good this year.
I just think his supporting cast upgrade is massive. He already had a quarterback-friendly passing target in Dallas Goedert. Their run game is also it takes a lot of pressure off him on the pass. They have the top offensive line in the NFL. So, I mean, all this is just mixture of success for him. He finished, I think, 2nd, right, last year. So there's a path to being number 1 at the position. So there's no reason why he shouldn't be ranked in anyone's top 5. He has a path to being the top quarterback with an improved weaponry this year. So, yeah, definitely. He was in my top 5. Brian, go ahead. Number 5.
Lamar Jackson. Is he in the contract year?
He's trying to get his new contract. He's not stepping foot on the field.
He's trying to get his new contract. Typically, when that's the case, people play their best to get the most money they can, and that's why I have them pretty high. So that's enough said on that.
Yeah, and it's just the fact that like they didn't really invest too much in the running backs. I guess they're going to use Dobbins as their number one guy, and they got rid of Marquise Brown. They didn't really bring in too much to replace him. So I just feel like this offense is going to be centered around Lamar Jackson and his running ability and Mark Andrews. So just for that alone, he's going to get a lot of touchdowns and rush for a lot of yards and create a really big floor. So that's why I have him right there at number 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's just betting on talent here as well. I mean, everybody with the floor with that can run the ball is kind of boost above just the normal pocket passers because just one rushing touchdown gets you 6 points in most leagues compared to just 4. I think this unit and this offense this year could be a little slower in pace though. So it's like because they are going to go back to running the ball a lot more than they were last year because they were forced to pass with all injuries. So that's just some little knock on him and why he's a little lower in my book too. And I'll just keep moving right along. Our consensus number 6 is Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. I think we had consensus like little glitch here because I think our next pick, number 7, was also tied with him within it when it comes to our consensus rankings. But we gave the edge to the GOAT because, well, he's the GOAT. Anything else to add, boys? I mean, I know he went to back home, right? He just got dismissed today because he had personal matters. So he's not going to come back till after the 20th. Are you worried about that at all? Are you going to shift your rankings or what do you guys think?
I kind of want to put him like a little bit lower because historically speaking, he always kind of hates pressure up front, and they lost their starting center.
Big time.
And Dolphins actually did a joint practice, and they were like killing him. I heard Brady got so pissed because they couldn't pick up the blitzes. He was like throwing the ball on the ground and shit like that. So I think having a backup center is really going to hurt personally. I actually kind of wanted to put him lower on the list, but I mean, whatever.
I don't know. It's like every time I try to count out Brady for a season, it makes me look really bad, and you just can't count him out. Like every time you think he's going to do bad, he does freaking great, and he proves you wrong. So he's always pretty safe to get as a fantasy quarterback, and he's right there in the top 6 for us, top 7. So,
yeah, the definite knock is just that interior line and see how they can counter that. But other than that, he's still the GOAT. Number 7, Yosef, go ahead.
Number 7, we had the one who was tied with Tom Brady, and that's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow he has a great offense around him. You got Jamar Chase now, they're really clicking. The only knock I could say is that they're very run-centric. I guess they were last year in the beginning of the year. Even though they have all these weapons, I don't know what they're thinking over there, but when they have Joe Mixon, they're going to run the ball. And besides that, he has a great offense, and he's looking better each time he goes out there. So it's going to be exciting to watch.
Go ahead, Brian. Anything to add, or we can move to number 8?
Go to number 8.
All right. Go ahead. You're up.
Kyler Murray, I just hate the fucking guy. Like, I just don't like him at all. I feel like most people don't
Good enough.
Wait, but you had him at number 8 anyway, so he was not any lower.
I feel like they're gonna.
How did he get this time?
They're just gonna throw the ball a lot. But there's actually like one time, some guy like tweeted at him saying like, "Oh, you had like a shitty game in fantasy. You cost me a game." And then Murray tweeted back like, "I don't give a shit about fantasy. Fuck your team. Blah blah blah." So I just don't like him, man. Like people, like NFL players, like I get it, but you got to understand, like who gives you the money? It's the fans. Without the fans,
let me get this straight. Your rankings just purely off his character. How much?
Yeah, I just don't like. I put him pretty high because I think they're going to throw the ball a lot. And
what did you put him at 8?
Put him at number 8. He also put him at 8.
Yeah, but then it's like also the contract where he doesn't study. There actually was a stat that I saw. I think the game was like, is it called like Game of War? What's like a popular war game? Warzone or something?
I have no idea.
Yeah, Warzone.
Is that what it's called? Or
Call of Duty Warzone?
Yeah, Call of Duty, right? So there was actually, does it come out every year?
I don't know.
Like a new
It's
version?
like new Call of
Never heard
Duty
of
every
it.
year.
You never heard of Call of Duty?
Well, Call of Duty. I thought you said Warzone. I don't know.
Well, I think Warzone was like that specific.
Yeah, it's a type of Call of Duty.
But they actually did a stat. Every year since he's been in the NFL, whenever the new Call of Duty has come out, his stats actually dip dramatically.
I saw
You
that.
think it's
Yeah, you're right.
excessive?
Well,
You
that's
think
the
it's-
that was the basis of the contract, right?
Yeah,
Because
you
that
think it's
stat was made
coincidence
known.
that he like once a new video game comes out and he's like a huge fan, he doesn't study, he plays all the time playing video game.
So that's why this is part of the reason why I'm not going to be keeping him in one of my dynasty or my keeper leagues this year, because I have him at a great draft value with the dollar value that's attached to him, but I'm not going to do it because he's let me down the last couple of years towards the end of the season. I keep finishing in second because this guy just doesn't perform in week 17. I'm not going to add too much more, but I'm going to hype a little bit more just because Brian just was knocking on him, but he had him in his top 10. I'm just going to say that, yes, they pass a lot. D-Hop's going to come in after 6 games. Hollywood Brown's going to fill that the nuke role. Rondale Moore has been shining a lot in camp. Zach Ertz was the addition. They drafted also the top tight end in the draft, Trey McBride. It's a pass-happy league. It's very fantasy-friendly, so he should be considered in a top QB tier. I'll go to number 9 since we're running out on time, and it's only fitting that I do this one because it is none other than Derek Carr. Derek Carr
How
in
did
our
he
top
make it at
10.
number 9? What?
Derek Carr, it wasn't even in Yosef's top 10 for whatever reason, because he's just being a hater. But he has great weapons around him. I mean, name a better quartet. I've been seeing all these posts on Twitter. Pick the better trio between, like, let's say, like Jamar Chase, Burrow, and Higgins. Great, no doubt, it's a great trio. But do they have a third weapon? No, they don't. What about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Tua? Do they have a quartet? No. Only one that has that is Derek Carr. You got to upgrade your life from a trio to a quartet.
Wait,
No one's going
who's
to be able
the
to defend them
third?
all.
Well,
Huh?
Carr's definitely
Who's
the
the
weak
third?
link in that.
No,
Not
wait.
necessarily.
Oh, you mean the third is the quarterback?
No. And the trio is the third. Like they would say, the quarterback and the 2 passive catching options, and all these, like, PFF has been posting them all summer on Twitter. And then, so I'll say this last thing before I let you guys speak is, I was watching Good Morning Football today, and I got to give credit to Jason McCourty. He did a great job. He's one of the new additions to Good Morning Football. He did a great rundown of Josh McDaniels and his play calling and creating mismatches on the field, liking Devontae Adams to the 2007 Randy Moss when he was the offensive coordinator there, likening Julian Edelman to Hunter Renfrow, and likening Rob Gronkowski to Darren Waller. There are a lot of great archetypes in comparisons to the weapons that he has in this offense to what he did and coached in New England. Obviously, there's a big quarterback difference there. I know that, but the weapons are the same. It's creating mismatches, a lot of short game, and I think that is why he's a top 10 quarterback.
You can tell Joey's excited for the Raiders this season.
I don't know, man. I just think the Raiders are going to throw the ball a lot because of who their head coach is, and they want to spend a first-round pick on a wide receiver. So I just think they're going to throw the ball all the freaking time. It actually did I saw a stat of no running back recently at all has ran for 1,000 yards under McDaniels. So they don't really run; they just keep throwing it. That's the only reason why I put them in the top 10.
Well, I mean, they're going to be in shootouts a lot in this particular.
In fantasy, it doesn't always come down to talent. It just comes down to opportunity. It comes down to opportunity over talent. If a guy gets more carries, more opportunities, he's probably going to have better numbers than the guy who's actually more talented.
Well, not necessarily for quarterback, because quarterback success is more based on efficiency and not volume or opportunity. It's more efficiency, and I think he has a chance to be more efficient.
Because is Jalen Hurts efficient? Is Jalen Hurts efficient?
He is efficient because he has a ground game, because he runs the ball. That's the reason why he's quote unquote efficient. He gets you fantasy points because he gets them on the ground. He has a floor there.
He was a horrible quarterback, though.
Doesn't matter, but
you're proving my point.
Well, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Fact, as far as fantasy points are concerned, the ground game gives them the floor. He doesn't have to be super efficient, but the majority of the time, efficiency leads to more fantasy success at the quarterback position. It's been proven.
I'm just trying to think of a quarterback who was his numbers was just pumped up because they just threw the ball a lot. I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's plenty of them.
Matt Ryan.
It's Matt. That's who I compare.
Matthew Stafford.
Think about those late games. We are short on time here, but think about late game situations too. When it's garbage time, they're incredibly more efficient than they were in the first 3 quarters because the coverage is softer, so their numbers get increasingly better. And that's what fantasy success is, because it's more efficient in those times of the game, given those game situations. But yeah, it's just, at least that's just what I've been seeing over the years and hearing and reading and witnessing. So have it what you will, though. I will say though, on one more knock on that, what you noted on Josh Jacobs, he is in a contract year. Whether they rotate the backs like they did in New England, I think is definitely poignant. But I think he's on a contract year. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder running over people. So number 10, Joseph, bring us home.
Number 10, last and not least, Dak Prescott makes our top 10 list right at the end there. He's going to be passing a lot too, a bunch. He has a pretty good core. I know he lost Cooper, and I think they lost Wilson as well. So, but they still have Lamb. Gallup should be coming back. I don't know what the timetable is on that, but he still passes a lot. He's very efficient, I would say. He's one of those efficient quarterbacks that gets you a good amount of points. I mean, I'll definitely draft him over someone like Carr. I feel like these Cowboys are going to score more. But other than that, not much to say. He's pretty just an average quarterback you can get that's very safe, that's going to pass it a lot every single game.
Yeah, his completion percentage was like damn near 70% right before his ankle injury. He doesn't have a rushing floor as much because we witnessed that last year, first year back from the ankle injury. He didn't rush as much. So it remains to be seen now that he's being a second year removed from that ankle injury. We'll see if he rushes a little bit more. The pass catching options are limited now, but they're going to be a pass happy offense. But we'll see. They might want to feed Zeke more and get Dak on play action. We'll see how Kellen Moore and company calls plays here. Brian, anything to add, or do you want to just bring us home here?
I mean, the guy lost like multiple offensive linemen. He lost his wide receiver one. He lost Wilson, who every time had the opportunity did great. I don't know how the hell he's in your guys' top 10. He wasn't in mine. Yeah.
Go ahead real quick on your honorable mention too, because I know you had your quarterback in your top 10.
Yeah, add to it. I mean, like he's been killing in practice. You added Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is a guy you can do a 5-yard pass and take it to the house. Waddle's been killing it in training camp. You got Gesicki, one of the top tight ends in the league, much improved offensive line. Finally got a quarterback that believes in him. Not a quarterback, but a head coach that believes in him.
Mike McDaniel is freaking jazz, dude. Like that guy is just, his energy is insane. I have two at number 14. I did my list to 15. I have two at 14, and I kind of want to move him up based on how he's been performing, but I want to see him in action a little bit more. Hopefully he takes some reps in live game situations. Because of Matthew Stafford's elbow, how they're managing that, I have him higher. But anyway, go ahead, Joseph. You had one other person in an honorable mention here.
Yeah, well, I just want to say how biased you guys are when you have Tua and Carr in your top 10. That's all I gotta say. I didn't put Mayfield in the top 10. You know, maybe
he's trash. What do you mean? He doesn't have weapons.
All right. Well, my top 10 actually, my last one was Trey Lance. I think he's going to provide a lot on the ground. I think it'll be a lot similar to what Jalen Hurts was last year. He really wasn't that efficient throwing the ball, but just because of his groundwork and his touchdowns, he was able to get you 15 and 20 points most games. So just from the running, he didn't even have to throw it as much. So I think that Trey Lance will compare to that, and he'll end up finishing above his ADP.
I mean, Brian knows that I think Trey Lance is a bust.
Yeah, I think he's a horrible thrower.
I don't know, man.
He's
rushing for
again.
You know how many
can get him there, but I actually don't even know I have Trey Lance in my top 15.
You know how many passes he actually had in his whole college career and NFL included?
Like please tell me this, because I know I think I heard the stat a while back, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think it was like 300, which is like people in an NFL season typically have
300 passes.
At least 300 minimum, like, typically way more. Yeah, I think the guy's just not a good quarterback. So, yeah, I mean,
can he run?
We'll see how it goes. We'll have this in the archives to refer back at the end of the season. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it went a little longer, but we'll have our running back rankings, receiver rankings, and tight ends in the coming days. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see.